Well, because the original one was, we did several, I mean, we got through this whole sketch plan thing. The planning board went out there a couple of times. You know, there's an area that, there's one big lot on the, across the lower side. If you're driving down Plesky Highway on the right-hand side, we wanted to keep that large, like a farmette lot, you know, so instead of whacking that thing up for a couple of different lots, we wanted to keep that big. It has the barn on that lot also. And then also, the left-hand side, I mean, that's the view that you really look down the whole valley, and,
right.
And the planning board and the applicant worked together not to put any houses to obstruct that, so it ended up to be 20 lots, you know, and then, you know, like I said, through the process, they gave up 2 other lots.
I can't imagine buying a house down in Goshen. I mean, I think it was a good move.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
So that's where they ended up. And again, it's one of those projects where, you know, the layout kind of grew out of the process.
Okay, how many conditions are on this one, Neil?
On the conditional file.
On the conditional file, there's 23 conditions. Most of these do not require any action. There's such things as you will provide a buffer, and the buffer's been provided. The applicant shall use grass pavers for the access roads to the drainage pond. There really are nothing that the applicant has to do at this point in time. It's just, these are how you're going to do the project, is what it essentially is.
What's the reason for the extension? Other than, in other words, are they ready to go? They're ready to build now, or do they just want to build a few and sell it?
They wanted to develop the first 6 lots, one being a farm lot. I don't know if Jerry Sosler and his sister are the ones that are the owners of this. And it's been a long process, you know, I mean, from 2004 to today, you know, and you know, they honestly, you know, don't have the financial wherewithal to bond, you know, to bond the improvements. They're not builders, you know, they were speculators, and they've been talking to some people. They're trying to get, you know, some people interested in those phase 2 and 3.
But they get these extensions and they sell, the extensions go with the land.
That's correct.
Yeah, so.
Well, they won't probably sell phases 1 and 2 and 3. They'll, you know, and if that's the case, if they sell them, they'll be in tomorrow to get conditional final approval.
Let's talk about some of our experiences in the town of Goshen. We got that one out on Gate School Road. We got the big dirt pile of the road in there. It's been panned, it's been in court, it's been this, it's been that, and it's a big open eyesore. Are we walking into something like that through all these extensions?
Well, I can answer that question for this particular project.
No, I'm talking about all of them.
Right.
I mean, you know, because we went into that with the best of intentions. This was going to be great, but all of a sudden now, it's almost like the guy went out of business and there's a lawsuit, and he doesn't have the money to finish it. And we get into all these things, and we assume responsibility for all this somehow by trying to work with the builders and the applicants, but all of a sudden it comes back to bite us.
But I could talk a little bit about that. It's called Meadows of Goshen, or Goshen Meadows. And that project never got final approval. That project got preliminary approval and went ahead and built.
Well, the title of Meadows of Goshen, we'll leave that out now.
But in any case, they never got final approval, and they had to modify their plans to get final approval, because they went ahead with preliminary approval and decided to put the infrastructure into the ground. Then they got tied up and everything. The only impact to the town, I mean, other than having to look at the site or whatever, the impact to the town is that project is exempt from any zoning changes based on the fact that they have enough invested in the property that they are what's called vested in their approvals. So that project is going to be approved essentially the way it was actually prior to the last code change.
Even though they had conditional preliminary, they didn't have conditional final.
They do not have conditional final, any kind of final right. They have nothing beyond conditional preliminary.
The deal we made with Hutchins. Courts. Yeah. Huh? It was the courts. Yeah. That was part of the deal. You can part of that, it's okay.
Okay, I'm just...
That's why I said, make deals with
developers before. We always wind up on the short end, and they'll
Well,
say no, but I think we do.
Doug, if I could just answer your question, and, you know, I mean, like I said in A&L, I mean, you know, phase 1 and 2 were developed with the planning board and your engineers. You know, they were reviewed and approved. The same thing with phases for this project. I mean, if you file phase 1,
I'm worried about this one much more than A&M.
well, but if you file phase 1, those lots are off the county highway. You know, so if you sell your lot number 1, you have to get your county highway permit to build your driveway. It's their jurisdiction. And if the other 2 phases never get built, they never get built. I mean, it's a farm field.
Okay? Makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, and just to let you know, I mean, again, you know, they're well below what the AQ3 overlays allow. And they also went through well testing for the health department and their health department approval, so.
The only difference between the two is the other one, 3/4 of the whole project will be built out in the proper amount of time. And just 9 lots are left over.
Right.
This one, 2/3 will not be built out, only 1/3 will be built out. That there is we're talking numbers, there's some numbers, but that is the difference.
But in this one,
I believe we had problem with microphone number 4, so if whoever has microphone number 4, that might be what's causing the problem.
That's me. This is one. All right, you're four. I'm on.
okay,
The planning board has problems with the microphones occasionally.
okay.
That might be the issue.
Let's see.
Now let's talk about this one again. Phil had a very good question. Relative to the 3 of these. I mean, let me see, 25% is what's being approved up front. Okay. 33%, pardon me. 33, yeah, okay. Why are they asking for this to begin with? And I feel very ill at ease about the financial stability of this particular applicant.
Well, I'll just say that, you know, that they own the land. You know, Jerry, your sister, own the land. Similar to our other projects, you know, we did a Part 3 environmental assessment form. You know, phasing was part of that. You know, we looked at the construction of this over a period of time. Asking to allow it to be phased is consistent with our approvals. It's also consistent with the SWIP that was also submitted. And it's typical traditional land development that you would run out there and build 2 cul-de-sacs at once. I mean, you'd build one and then you would build the other one. So they're asking for the ability to phase it. You know, they own the land outright. There's no mortgage, so they're not going to lose their land. The question is whether they lose their approvals. And you know, if they get phase 1 filed, that's going to give them the ability to, you know, carry the land and weather the storm and hopefully be able to sell phase 2 and 3 to a developer.
Well, they won't lose their approval, they'll lose it under the old zoning.
If
That's what the extension is all about, I mean.
right, well, the reality of it is that you've got to have, every applicant has to have conditional final approval by the end of this month. By I believe the 23rd or 27th of this month, because that's when you enacted local law.
Right.
If they're required to get conditional final approval, the likelihood is that will lapse. So they will, in fact, lose their exemption and ultimately their approvals, and have to come back in.
For the other 12 lots.
It could be all 18 lots, depending on.
Well, if they get their final approval on the first phase 1, that's what they're going to work on now, right? They're looking to extend phase 2 and 3.
Correct.
They'll lose their exemptions on 2 and 3. That's
Okay, in terms of, I think that what's at risk for them was the water protocols then?
yeah.
Because they're,
What is the risk?
what is the risk to them? In other words, if they get conditional final for the first 6, they're going to be zipping along on that. The remaining 12, let's say it lapsed and we don't give the approval. They've gone from 27 down to 18 because of the terrain or whatever it might be. And so that, I guess there would be sufficient water for 18 versus 27, though I don't know that. But likelihood,
They'll meet all the zoning.
they're meeting all the zone requirements under the new
The
zoning.
zoning isn't an issue. It's really the exemption is from the water testing protocol.
Right. It's the water testing
Having to go
protocol.
out and drill, 4 or 5 wells, whatever the number is.
Right, but there's a reason for that.